his utter astonishment that his pecker was as hard as a rock for the first time in 2 years. He shook his wife by the shoulder until she woke up and showed her his enormous Check this out, he happily exclaimed. What do you think we should do with it? With one eye open, his wife replied, well, now that you've got all the wrinkles out, it would be a good time to wash it. That wife of mine is a liar, said the angry husband to a sympathetic pal seated next to him in a bar. How do you know? The friend asked. She didn't come home last night, and when I asked her where she'd been, she said she had spent the night with her sister Shirley. So? The friend replied. So she's a liar. I spent the night with her sister Shirley. My 3 girls and their boyfriends all have the same name, so in order to keep them from getting confused, they decide to give their boyfriends nicknames. They ask the first girl what she calls her boyfriend. She says, I call my man 7-Up. They ask her, why do you call your man that? And she says, because he's 7 inches long and is always up. They ask the second girl what she calls her man. She says, I call my man Mountain Dew. They ask, why do you call your man that? And she says, because he likes to mountain me. They ask the third girl the same thing, and she says, I like to call my man Jack Daniels. They look at her, puzzled, and say, why do you call your man that? Jack Daniels is a hard liquor. She says, exactly. Israeli doctor said, medicine in my country is so advanced we can take a kidney out of one person, put it in another, and have him looking for work in 6 weeks. The German doctor said, that's nothing. In Germany we can take a lung out of one person, put it in another, and have him looking for work in 4 weeks. A Russian doctor said, in my country medicine is so advanced we can take half a heart from one person, put it in another, and have them both looking for work in 2 weeks. The American doctor, not to be outdone, said, ha! We took out an out of Texas, put him in the White House, and half the country will be looking for work tomorrow. A physically large guy meets a woman at a bar, and after a number of drinks, they agree to go back to his place. As they are making out in the bedroom, ready for the act, he stands up and starts to undress. After he takes his shirt off, he flexes his muscular arms and says, see there, baby? That's 100 pounds of dynamite. She begins to drool. The man drops his pants, strikes a bodybuilder's pose, and says, referring to his bulging legs, see those, baby? That's 1,000 pounds of dynamite. She's aching for action at this point. Finally, he drops his underpants and she grabs her purse and runs screaming to the front door. He catches her before she's able to run out of the door and asks, why are you in such a hurry to leave? She replies, with 2,000 pounds of dynamite and such a short fuse, I was afraid you were about to blow. Baby was just born. He had all his parts and looked quite normal, except that he was laughing like mad. All the doctors and nurses were examining the little thing in front of the worried parents, but he kept on laughing. His tiny fists all closed and tears rolling from his eyes. One at a time, the doctor unfolded the tiny fingers to check if the hand was alright. And guess what he found? The birth control pill. Very good-looking man walks into a singles bar, gets a drink and takes a seat. During the course of the evening, he tries to chat with every single woman who walks into the bar. With no luck. Suddenly, a really ugly man, and I mean really ugly man, walks into the bar. He sits at the bar, and within seconds, he's surrounded by women. Very soon, he walks out of the bar with 2 of the most beautiful women you have ever seen. Disheartened by all of this, the good-looking man asks the barman, Excuse me, but that really ugly man just came in here and left with those two stunning women. What's his secret? He's as ugly as sin, and I'm everything a girl could want, but I've not been able to all night. What's going on? Well, says the barman, I don't know how he does it, but he does the same thing every night. He walks in, orders a drink, and just sits there licking his eyebrows. Manager hired a new secretary. She was young, sweet, and polite. One day while taking dictation, she noticed his fly was open. While leaving the room, she courteously said, "Oh, sir, did you know that your barracks door was open?" He did not understand her remark, but later on happened to look down and saw that his zipper was open. He decided to have some fun with his new employee. Calling her in, he asked, "By the way, Miss Jones, when you saw my barracks door open this morning, did you also see a soldier standing to attention?" The secretary, who was very witty, replied, "Why no, sir. All I saw was a little disabled veteran sitting on two duffel bags." 22-year-old man went to the doctor to get a physical examination. A few days later, the doctor saw the man walking down the street with a gorgeous young lady on his arm. At his follow-up visit, the doctor talked to the man and said, "You're really doing great, aren't you?" The man replied, "Just doing what you said, doctor. Get a hot mama and be cheerful." The doctor said, "I didn't say that. I said you've got a heart murmur. Be careful." Lady goes to the gynecologist but won't tell the receptionist what's wrong with her. Just that she must see a doctor. After hours of waiting, the doctor sees her in. "Okay, my good woman, what's your problem?" the doctor asks. "Well," she says, "my husband is a very compulsive gambler, and every nickel he can get his hands on, he gambles. So I had $500 and I stuffed it in my vagina. But now I can't get it out. The doctor says don't be nervous. I see this happen all the time." He asks her to pull down her underwear, sits her down with her legs wide open, puts his gloves on, and says, "I only have one question. What am I looking for? Bills or loose change?" Bill worked in a pickle factory. He had been employed there for a number of years when he came home one day to confess to his wife that he had a tremendous urge to stick his penis into the pickle slicer. His wife suggested that he should see a therapist to talk about it, but Bill indicated that he'd be too embarrassed. He vowed to overcome the compulsion on his own. One day, a few weeks later, Bill came home absolutely ashen. His wife could see that at once that something was seriously wrong. "What's wrong, Bill?" she asked. Do you remember that I told you how I had this tremendous urge to put my into the pickle slicer?" "Oh, Bill, you didn't." "Yes, I did." "My God, Bill, what happened?" "I got fired." "No, Bill, I mean what happened with the pickle slicer?" "Oh, she got fired too," the man says.